Hey, what's up, guys? This is Kevin Robert. I just wanted to respond to this email that I got from a contractor asking about the follow-up process. So I wanted to go over how we do it. I see a lot of people in the home improvement space doing follow-up incorrectly. So I just wanted to make a quick video going over our follow-up process here. All right. So the way most people follow up, and just so you know, I'm like a one call close guy. So that's what we do here at my company now. That's what I've always done when I was in outside sales for other companies. So everything I'm talking about here is around like a one call close sales process. Okay. So just keep that in mind. So what most people do when they're following up with homeowners is they obviously go out to the estimate appointment, they give their initial presentation, they try to close it on the spot. Doesn't always happen, right? So they leave them with a price, and then they typically start following up with them, a day or two later. And usually when people are following up, they're just sending stuff like, "Hey, are you ready to move forward yet? Hey, just wanted to see what you guys thought about the quote. Hey, just wanted to let you guys know that, we have a crew free on Thursday and, we can get you scheduled then if you guys want to or whatever, right?" But it's usually like a variation of that, or like, "Hey, you guys ready to go yet?" Or like some variation of that, right? You're basically just asking for the close over and over again without saying anything between that would actually change their mind. So the thing with sales is certainty is what closes deals, right? When you get someone to high level of 100% certainty, that's when they say yes. And so when we're just following up with people and like texting them or calling them and just saying like, "Hey, are you ready yet? Hey, are you ready yet? Hey, are you ready yet?" That's not building certainty. Basically, what you're doing there is the same thing as if you were in-house and you gave your sales presentation and you asked them to sign the contract and they said no, or they said, "I want to think about it." And then you just ask them again to sign the contract. Like, of course they're going to say no again, right? You just asked twice in a row. You didn't give them anything in between. The thing is, if you didn't have enough certainty to close the deal on the spot on the initial estimate appointment, then you're not going to have the certainty days later to just ask them to buy again, right? Certainty dwindles as time goes by. Even like 30 minutes after you leave the home, they've already forgot most of the stuff that you talked about, and your level of certainty goes down, right? They're not as excited as they were when you were there giving the presentation. So if you didn't have enough certainty to close it on the spot, you have even less 2 days later when you're just asking them to buy it again, right? So the analogy that I like to use in sales is what I call the certainty bucket. So picture like one of those like orange Home Depot buckets, and that's your certainty bucket. So when you fill that to the top with water, that's when people buy, right? Once the certainty's all the way up, once you get to the top 100%, that's when people buy. The thing with your certainty bucket is it has a few holes drilled in the bottom. So it's, leaking out water really slow. And so when you're on the estimate appointment, you're giving your presentation, you're filling that up really fast. And a lot of times you can get it to the very top, right? Go through your presentation, go through your rebuttal sequence, build more certainty, company, product, process. Everything looks good. You fill it to the top and they buy, right? But if you don't fill it to the very top, maybe it's like 3/4 of the way there, and then you leave the house, well, that water's leaking out the bottom. So if you got it 3/4 of the way there, well, when you follow up with them 2 days later, you can't expect that certainty level to be the same because it's been leaking out, right? Now it's like a quarter of the way full. So knowing that, we can't just ask for the sale again. We can't just text them and say, "Hey, just want to see if you guys are ready to go yet," right? We have to fill that bucket back up at least to where it was when you initially left the first call. And then we have to build on top of that to get it to the very top so we can close the deal. So anytime you're interacting with someone, you have to be thinking about your certainty bucket, right? You have to be thinking, okay, I talked to this person, on Saturday. I went over a bunch of stuff. They seemed really excited about it, like they wanted to move forward. But I know that, the water's leaking out of my certainty bucket. So next time I follow up with this person or have any interaction with them, I need to add stuff to that bucket to get the certainty up, right? And my goal is to get that to the top. And so the way we do that in the follow-up process is we're sending them the same stuff that we talk about in the presentation, right? We're hitting on stronger points. We're addressing objections that we think they might have, even if they haven't said the objection, right? Everyone in the home service, home improvement space kind of has the same objections, whether they tell you what they are up front or they don't. You can kind of write all those down. You know all of them, you know all their false beliefs. We kind of know at this point, like the main reasons people don't buy, right? So the follow-up sequence is basically an extension of your rebuttal sequence. So when you go to the house on the first meeting, you give your initial presentation, you frame everything, make it sound really good, and then you ask them to sign the contract. They say they got to think about it. They say they need 3 estimates, whatever, right? And then you jump into your rebuttal sequence. And so your rebuttal sequence is an extension of your presentation. It's where you're just basically circling back into the presentation, hitting on stronger points, bringing up stories and things that you know are going to handle their underlying false beliefs and their objections that they might not be forthcoming and actually telling you about yet. That's your rebuttal sequence. Now, with the rebuttal sequence, obviously we can't, we kind of have a time frame at people's homes, right? When we're sitting there at the kitchen table with them, we could rebuttal, maybe for like an hour or so, but eventually there comes a point where it's like they just either shut you down or you feel like you're overstaying your welcome. You're kind of riding the line where it's like, hey, if I try to circle back one more time and close this again, they're probably going to get pissed off and kick me out, right? So there comes a point when we're in house on the spot where we have to stop the rebuttal sequence. But with follow up, we don't have to stop that, right? We have people in a follow up sequence that we've been following up with for like a year, right? And so your follow up sequence is just an extension of your rebuttal sequence. So you give your presentation, then you rebuttal. Your rebuttal sequence is an extension of your presentation, and your follow-up sequence is an extension of that rebuttal sequence that basically just goes on indefinitely until they either give you a thumbs up or the middle finger. And again, we're going to send them the same stuff, right? The same stuff that we go over in our presentation to build certainty, the same stuff that we go over in our rebuttal sequence is the same stuff that we're going to put in the follow-up sequence. So hopefully that makes sense. I know I'm kind of like yapping here, but the way I like to do that is I basically what our follow-up sequence looks like is I just write down on a piece of paper, and we have this already. We've done this. We did this like when I first started the company. But if you haven't done this yet, write down on a piece of paper every single reason that someone wouldn't sign up, right? Wouldn't want to move forward. So it's usually like all their objections, all their false beliefs, right? A false belief is something that they believe to be true. It's a story that they're telling themselves in their head, but isn't true in reality, right? So like one of the common false beliefs in the home improvement space is that the lowest price is best, right? They're thinking in their head, every contractor, right? If they're getting like their bathroom remodeled, well, every contractor is going to do the same exact thing, right? They're going to replace the toilet, they're going to replace the flooring, they're going to stick tile on the wall in the shower, right? They're all going to do the same exact thing. So if they're all going to do the same thing, then obviously the lowest price is best. And so that's a false belief, right? Because we know that's not true. Well, that's the story they're telling themselves in their head. So what we have to do is tell them a new story to rewrite that false belief. And the way we do that is with testimonials and stories about our other customers, right? So if we're using that as an example, all contractors are the same, so the lowest price must be best. Then what we want to do is send them a story of a recent customer where the testimonial says something like, I can't recommend Kevin's company enough. When we first started this process, we didn't know much about contractors. And when Kevin initially came out and gave us price, we had a few other bids as well. Kevin was a little bit higher than some of the other bids, but based on all the stuff he told us, we really trusted him, and it seemed like it could have been a good option. However, we were still considering going with the lower price because it was just a simple bathroom remodel, and so we figured every contractor was going to be doing the same thing. Therefore, it made sense just to go with the best price. However, what we found was after digging into some of these other contractors, looking at their reviews, talking to people and some of the local Facebook groups that use them, we realized that all contractors aren't the same. There's different craftsmanship. There's different, some people are licensed, some people aren't. Some contractors just hire random people off Craigslist to come do the work. They're actually not doing it with their own in-house guys. And we read all these horror stories about what can happen in some instances if we hire the wrong contractor. And so what we realized is it's not really just about the price. There's so much stuff that can go wrong in a construction project like this that it's actually more about hiring the right contractor. Because if we hire the wrong contractor, They might just take our money and run, or all these horror stories that we read about might happen to us. So even though Kevin was a little bit more expensive initially, we just decided to go with him because he seemed more trustworthy. And we're so glad we did because in the end, everything came out perfect. The whole process was smooth, zero stress with us, and we had a great experience, right? Something like that. That's like a story that you would send someone in your follow-up sequence that's going to handle that false belief pattern, right? Now, we don't know what they're thinking in their head, right? And a lot of times they're not going to tell us. So it's not like we know what to send to address exactly what they're thinking. But again, with our follow-up sequence, we could just go on forever, right? We could just keep sending them stuff. So what we're going to do is just, again, write down every false belief, every objection, every reason that they're possibly not moving forward. And we're just going to create little like third-party stories around that to address those. Sometimes you could address like multiple in one story, right? And then we're just going to keep sending those out automatically in our follow-up sequence. And we're just going to chip away at that. And eventually we're going to hit on the one, we're going to pick the lock that's the one that's causing them to not move forward. And then they're just going to say yes. So that's how it's done. And basically what the email looks like is you're going to either send them an email, send them a text. You're just going to be like, hey, Tom, just wanted to send you this. This is one of our recent customers down the street from you. Just wanted to show you what they had to say about us. And then you're going to post a screenshot of the testimonial or whatever, send some before and after pictures, have the after picture be you and the homeowners stand in front of the project, smiling, whatever, right? And that's what a good follow-up message sounds like. I don't even ask if they're ready to go or anything at the end of that. I just send that, right? Just, hey Tom, just wanted to send you this. This is a recent customer of ours. He's actually just right down the street from you guys. We just finished up his project. Here's what he had to say about us. Bam, testimonial, before and after pictures. That's it, right? If they want to move forward, then they'll just respond to it and be like, oh, looks great. What was the price again? Or whatever, right? And that's how it's done. And so what we do after that, what our follow-up process looks like is basically, so we go out on the initial call, we try to close it on the spot. If we don't close it, then as soon as we leave the house, we stick them in an automated follow-up sequence. So they get emails, they get text messages automatically. And basically what we do is we bombard them with these stories, these testimonials, case studies, pictures, all kinds of stuff. We bombard them with those by email and text for 2 days. And then what we'll do is we'll call them after that and follow up. So bombardment, 2 days, and then you're going to call them. And basically all you're going to say when you call them is you're going to be like, yeah, hey, Tom, this is Kevin over here at Powerhouse Renovations. How are you doing today? Oh, I'm doing good, Kevin. How's it going? Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Hey, man, I just wanted to see if you, I've been sending you some stuff. I just wanted to see if you got the stuff I've been sending you. Oh, yeah, I got it. Yeah, I seen all that testimonial and stuff. Okay, awesome. What were your thoughts? What do you think about that? Yeah, everything looks awesome. Looks like you guys are a great company. Awesome. Well, my crews are tied up right now through the week, but we could actually get you started on Wednesday of next week if that's the road you're looking to go down. And then that's it, right? Wait for them to answer. So you bombard them with the stories, right? To build more certainty, like we talked about, fill up that certainty bucket. And then you call them after that. Hey, did you get the stuff I sent you? Yes. Did you like it? Yes. Awesome. I can get you started on Wednesday. And then they're either going to say yes or they're going to say, like, I still need to think about it or whatever, right? Just like the same stuff they say in the presentation and the rebuttal sequence. Again, it's just an extension of that. And then so you just, you say, okay, yeah, no worries, let me know, right? Hang up. After you hang up, right? Again, for the next 2 days, they're going to get bombarded with more stuff. And then after 2 days, what am I going to do? I'm going to call them. Hey, did you get the stuff I sent you? Did you like it? Awesome. I can get you started on this day. No, I still need to think about it. No problem. 2 days. Hit them with all the stuff. Call them again. Did you get the stuff I sent you? Did you like it? I can get you started on this day. And we just keep doing that forever, right? That's the follow-up sequence. You just do that over and over and over again. And eventually they're just going to either tell you to stop calling them, or they went with someone else, or they're going to say yes. But that's how you follow up indefinitely. And that's how you follow up the right way, because you're chipping away at all their false beliefs, all the reasons that they're not doing it. You're building a massive amount of certainty. You're continuing your rebuttal sequence, filling up your certainty bucket. And then we hit them with that stuff, and then we call them and ask them if they want to move forward. Okay. So that's how it's done. Hopefully that makes sense. Thanks for listening, and let me know if you have any questions.